For most of modern history, psychology began with a question. How do you feel? What are you thinking? Why did you do that? Those questions built therapies, diagnoses, entire institutions. But quietly, without a debate, without a vote, that question is starting to disappear. Not because psychologists stopped caring about inner life, not because ethics collapsed, and not because artificial intelligence became conscious. It's disappearing for a simpler reason. The answers turned out to be unreliable. Your behavior speaks faster than you do. It contradicts you more often than you realize. And AI doesn't need permission to notice patterns that never stop forming. This is the moment psychology stopped asking questions and started watching. Psychology has always wanted to be a hard science. But unlike physics or chemistry, it inherited a problem it could never solve. You can't ethically induce depression just to observe it. You can't manufacture long-term loneliness to see how it reshapes a person. You can't expose people to real trauma simply to measure the outcome. So psychology adapted. Instead of direct manipulation, it relied on substitutes, questionnaires, interviews, lab tasks designed to approximate real life without causing harm. These tools were useful, but they came with a hidden cost. They depended on self-report, on people knowing what they feel, remembering accurately, and being willing or able to tell the truth. But human self-understanding is unstable. We rationalize after the fact. We misremember. We protect our self-image. Sometimes we simply don't know why we do what we do. As a result, psychology became a science of snapshots. Moments frozen in time, small samples, artificial environments. Ethical necessity shaped not just how research was done, but what psychology was allowed to know. For decades, that was the ceiling. Artificial intelligence didn't remove psychology's ethical limits. It made them irrelevant. Instead of asking people to explain themselves, AI began analyzing behavior directly, at scale, continuously, and without interruption. Language was the first crack in the wall. Machine learning systems trained on millions of messages, posts, and conversations began detecting patterns no human researcher could reliably see. Depression appeared in syntax, anxiety in repetition, hopelessness in absolutist language, not occasionally, consistently. And crucially, often before a diagnosis, before therapy, before the person themselves recognized anything was wrong. No questionnaire could do that. No interview could scale that far. AI didn't access inner life. It made inner life optional. Psychology began shifting from what people say about themselves to what their behavior reveals without intention. This wasn't a moral decision. It was a statistical one. Behavior turned out to be more stable than testimony. What made this shift irreversible wasn't just scale, it was consistency. Across cultures, across age groups, across contexts. Different people, different lives, the same behavioral signals kept appearing. That forced psychology into an uncomfortable realization. If behavior predicts outcomes more reliably than explanation, then explanation stops being the primary evidence. This doesn't mean people are lying. It means self-knowledge has limits. Humans narrate themselves, AI measures them, and measurement doesn't care about coherence, intention, or meaning. It only cares about recurrence. Once that became clear, psychology didn't choose to move on. It had no scientific reason not to. And once that became clear, the discipline crossed a line it can't uncross. Your messages from last week already contain patterns. Your pauses, your phrasing, your timing. They exist whether you think about them or not. Emotion research exposes this shift even more clearly. For decades, psychologists relied on trained observers to code facial expressions. Slow work, subjective judgment, limited by what the human eye can see. AI changed that by observing emotion at a scale humans physically can't. Frame by frame, millisecond by millisecond. Micro expressions, tiny muscle movements lasting fractions of a second, became visible. What emerged wasn't clarity, it was instability. Emotions weren't clean categories. They overlapped, they flickered, they contradicted what people reported feeling. You could smile while expressing stress, suppress anger while your face betrayed it, experience emotional shifts without ever becoming conscious of them. AI didn't reveal hidden feelings. It revealed how unreliable awareness itself can be. Emotion wasn't something you had. It was something your body expressed whether you noticed or not. And once again, psychology didn't change its ethics. It changed its vantage point. The same pattern appeared in social behavior. Traditional psychology studied social interaction in labs, simplified tasks, short timeframes, controlled settings. AI moved observation back into real life, phones, movement data, communication patterns over months and years. What researchers found wasn't dramatic, it was gradual. Loneliness didn't arrive as a feeling first, it arrived as behavior. Fewer messages, less movement. Narrower routines, burnout left traces long before people named it. Social withdrawal unfolded quietly, step by step. This reframes what it even means to know yourself. Traditionally, insight came first, then behavior followed. Now the order is reversing. Patterns appear before awareness, trajectories form before language, outcomes become likely before anyone feels different. From the system's perspective, you don't change suddenly, you drift, and drift is easier to model than confession. This is why behavioral psychology feels colder now, not because it lost empathy, but because empathy is no longer required to predict. Psychology didn't need to isolate anyone to learn this. It didn't need to induce distress. It only needed to watch long enough. This is the deeper shift. Psychology is no longer anchored to subjective experience. It's anchored to behavioral trajectories. Who you are is inferred from what you do, not what you say you feel. Psychology once asked humans to explain themselves. Now it explains humans without asking. Not because it's cold, not because it's careless, but because behavior turned out to be more reliable than reflection. And once that became true, the question was never going to survive. If this unsettled you, that's because it should. The most consequential shift in psychology isn't that machines understand us better. It's that they no longer need us to explain ourselves. Tap like if this named something you felt but couldn't quite articulate. Subscribe to become part of The Unlocked, where we examine how power, behavior, and intelligence quietly reshape the world around us. And if someone you know still believes truth begins with intention, share this with them, because the systems shaping our future don't ask how you feel, they watch what you do. Because the future isn't coming, it's already here.